And today is a crucial day because there is another big development that's expected to take place, and that is the Bofors case, which will be heard in the Apex Court today. Remember, Republic TV has been getting you a series of exposés on this mega scam, and now today the Supreme Court will hear a PIL on this particular issue. Will we see another big outcome? Because keep in mind, over the last few months, as far as this particular case is concerned, following up Republic's investigative reports, we have seen the CBI expressing its intent and willingness to reopen the case and to reinvestigate the Bofors scam. Let's go across to our legal correspondent, Nalini, who's joining us with more details on this. Nalini, good morning. What's expected in the Supreme Court today? It's a big day because the Bofors case is coming up for hearing.
Absolutely. The Bofors case is listed for the final hearing today, and we can expect the arguments to finally happen after an inordinate delay in the hearing of the case. It was back in 2005 when Ajay Agarwal, who is an advocate before the Supreme Court as well as a BJP leader, had gone ahead and filed this particular PIL before the Supreme Court, asking for the court to look into the matter, challenging the Delhi High Court order that had in fact acquitted the Hinduja brothers in the case. The Delhi High Court order dates back to 2005, after which within a period of 90 days, which is the time limit for the CBI or anybody in fact to appeal against an order, the CBI had failed to file an appeal against the Delhi High Court order despite arguing the case aggressively before the Delhi High Court. They did not challenge the acquittal of the Hinduja brothers, because of which Ajay Agarwal had gone ahead and in fact filed this particular PIL asking for the court to look into the matter, which was then admitted in 2005 but then never came up for hearing after that. It was after Republic TV's expose last year that Ajay Agarwal had once again mentioned the case before the Supreme Court, telling them that there was a delay in actually listing the matter, that the case was in fact filed almost 10 years back, and still the Supreme Court had not taken up the case for hearing, after which the Chief Justice of India, Justice Deepak Mishra, had allowed the case in fact to be listed, stating that the court will take up the issue. And after that, it is today that the case has finally been listed for the final hearing. We can expect the arguments to begin today, starting with the arguments of Ajay Agarwal himself, exactly giving us the details of exactly on what basis he is challenging the Delhi High Court order that had acquitted the Hinduja brothers. We can also in fact expect the court to question the Central Bureau of Investigation on exactly what their reasons were to not go ahead and file an appeal. Because as has been stated by the Central Bureau of Investigation, they were in fact barred from filing an appeal by the government itself at that time, because the CBI or any investigation agency to challenge an order needs an approval of the government. So they clearly stated that the government had not given them permission to file an appeal, which is why they had not gone ahead and done so. But despite that, the matter is now before the Supreme Court. The top court from the CGI's bench, the top court of the Supreme Court, will today most likely be hearing the case. The arguments will begin in the case, and we can expect some major developments to happen.
All right. So a few developments expected in the Apex Court as far as the Bofors case is concerned. But Nalini, as you're pointing out, we've seen a number of inadvertent delays possibly as far as the Bofors case is concerned. And the reason this is so crucial and this is so relevant, not just in the back of Republic TV's exposés, but also keeping in mind that the CBI, the Central Bureau of Investigation, has expressed its willingness really to go ahead and reopen its Bofors investigation. So as far as the Supreme Court's remarks with regards to this particular case is concerned, it will be crucial. Nalini, I want you to stay on with us because we're also getting a reaction from the Bofors petitioner, Ajay Agarwal. Listen in.
So, what is the matter today that you're it's going to be raked up today?
In fact, Delhi High Court had quashed the charges against Hinduja brothers in 2005, and that order was passed by the single judge, recalling its own order. Earlier, one order was passed on 4th February 2004, another on 20th May 2004. Those orders were recalled by the same judge, by the single judge of the High Court, which is not at all admissible under the law. It was totally illegal. And yesterday, I filed one affidavit also before the Supreme Court stating that these Hinduja brothers have committed a fraud on the Supreme Court also, because first they have moved by way of a special petition before the Supreme Court against the same order that is 4th February 2004 order of the Delhi High Court, and Supreme took the paper books back from the Supreme Court for curing some defects in the paper books, and they have never filed it again. It is still showing pending in the Supreme Court, and rather they moved before the Delhi High Court in collusion with the CBI before the same judge in a recall application, and did not state the fact that they have moved before the Supreme Court. And the judge recalled his own order and quashed the charges. Earlier he has declined to quash the charges, but he recalled his own order. It is not at all admissible under the law. The only remedy available is by way of SLP before the Supreme Court. If it is allowed to be sustained, then there will be no need of Supreme Court. The High Court will keep on changing its own order. The single judge will keep on changing its own order. So it is not at all admissible under the law. The second thing, in that order, one more averment has come in the last but one para, that 250 crores has been spent on the investigation. The judge said that I was given to understand that 250 crores has been spent on the investigation. The CBI counsel has stated over there that this much amount has been incurred in the expenses of the investigation. While when I filed a RTI application before the CBI in 2011, CBI replied me on 21st March 2011 that in total 4 crores 77 lakhs were spent. It includes the fees of the lawyers also. It includes the foreign visits of the officers and other expenses. So a huge bubble was created by the CBI by stating that on a scam of 64 crores, 250 crores has been spent. So the people of the country were very much concerned that it is an investigation where the public money is going like anything. So these things I have brought before the Supreme Court. The entire matter is before the Supreme Court. For the last 12 years, it is pending before the Supreme Court. And when the Supreme Court will take up the matter on merits, our case is very strong because single judge has no power to change its own order. And second thing, there is the admissibility of the documents. The High Court did not dealt with the CBI affidavit, which states that these were very much authenticated documents. The High Court said that our documents are not authenticated. So, in all probability, on merits, our case is very strong, and we have every likelihood that we will win the case, and the charges against those Hinduja brothers will be revived.
Okay. And what about the collusion?